Hi, I'm Nicole Cornell. I'm a program director for Mama's Voices. And today just wanted to talk a little bit about one of the concepts we share a lot, and that is the culture of acceptance. And this is something that we usually start any presentation where we're talking or sharing and bringing patients to. And we try to adopt this into a lot of our speeches, and anything that, again, that we have that we're bringing patients. And we want to just set the tone and level set, especially when there's clinicians in the room. And I'm going to talk you through the 4 key points of our culture of acceptance. And I can't say that I can take all the credit of this my own. This has just come over years of working with patient family partners and just working alongside other great organization leaders as well. So the first thing that we do in our culture of acceptance is we don't use honorifics. So we acknowledge and we respect all of those with higher degrees, but we don't use honorifics in the projects that we work with and in our groups. And so we really do, we want to make sure that we have a space and a space for everyone to speak up and then feel like they have a voice, and we want to level that power dynamic a little bit. So I totally appreciate all the time that you have spent and the resources and the investments that you put into your higher education. For our projects that we work on, we refrain from using any kind of doctor's language in our projects. So we just want to be on a first name basis and talk to each other one-to-one as human beings. So I hope that's not a problem for our projects, but that's something that we have adopted. The second thing that we do is that we want to make sure that patients are sharing in a safe space. And actually, we've taken it a bit farther, and we say that there really isn't a safe thing. It's a true thing is a safe space, but it's a brave space because you have to be brave to share your own experience. So these are moments that patients that we can learn from. So patients might be sharing something, and there might be something that you hear and you might say, oh my gosh, that is not medically accurate. That is not what happens in our facility. That's really not how it works. But these are learning opportunities. So instead of having like these red flags get raised, just take a moment and curb that urge to defend or correct. And think of that as this is how it was communicated to the patient. This is how they understood it. And what can I learn from this? How can communication be improved from what this patient is sharing to me? They might have understood it differently. So how can we learn from that and understand that gap? No, it might not be medically accurate, and we might know that as truth from the medical standpoint, but that is how the patient and their family perceived it. That's how it maybe had been explained to them or how they understood it. And how can we learn from that? So let's use these as learning opportunities. The next thing that we talk about a lot is evidence based. So, in this space where we are so focused on evidence, sometimes we lose track of the experience. So, there might be solutions that are out there that exist, and people are doing really good work, but it hasn't been deemed credible because it hasn't been published yet. So, we don't want to lose track of the experience, or that there might be solutions that are out there that already are working in the communities, just because they might not have the resources to get it published, or other barriers that are existing within the systems to keep that from happening does not mean it's not credible. So that is something that I got from my dear friend Kay Matthews with Shades of Blue Project when she was talking at an event with me, was that we get so focused on the outcome that we lose track of the experience. And I think that really also plays into the piece about evidence as well. So there's definitely a lot that's going on out there. It just doesn't get the same exposure if you don't have it. If it hasn't been published yet, especially in a peer-reviewed journal, if it hasn't gone through the whole IRB process, all of these things take resources, whether it's financial resources, it's human resources, it's people resources, it's knowledge and skill sets that not everybody has. They don't have that. And so it can create a lot of barriers and gatekeeping, and make it harder for some of these smaller and community-based organizations and groups and solutions to get their correct exposure when they're doing great work. And so we do not want to bypass them as not being eligible or credible just because of that. Also, the fourth thing that we talk about is sensitive. So, a lot of the discussions that we're going to have when we're talking with patients, sometimes they're going to bring up uncomfortable topics, and we all have triggers. And we acknowledge that in order to grow, we need to be able to talk through these experiences. And this is how we've gone from talking about safe spaces to really brave spaces, because it's not ever really a safe space, but you have to feel brave enough to be open and honest. And we don't want people to remain silent in fear of triggering someone else. So we have to be able to feel brave enough to share information in a space that we can give and receive information in a non-judgmental way. So we want people to be open and honest and feel brave enough to share, and that they can do that in a way that they will not be any repercussions. They will not be those experiences will not leave that space without fear of being held against them or spread in a way that's out of confidence. So those are some of the things that we share when we're talking about culture of acceptance. And I hope that really helps you and something that you can share within your organizations or when you have patients joining you with projects as well. Thank you for joining us today.